Yes. Now, the space that you play in, by default, I think there's a really interesting conversation to have here around culture, and specifically to do with a fairly hot topic, which is cultural appropriation or cultural misappropriation is the other side of that conversation.
Yeah.
You know, I know, and I'll talk to this person. I know that, like, for years, I hand make dream catchers and I give them. And the reason I do that is I love the philosophy of what they represent, which is the web catches negative ideas and dreams, the feathers and charms captures the good. So the child will go into action with only their positive thoughts driving their actions. Now, I love that philosophy. So I gift these, I hand make them as a creative tactile outlet, but I'm also appreciative. I'm appropriating something culturally. So I don't sell these. I don't do it. I respect the culture. I pay kudos to the background. I give them. So to some degree, I'm borrowing from that. And we live in this hyper-connected world. But I'm sure this must be something that must surely come on your radar a bit to some degree, or you must experience. Tell us about your experiences with it, and how do we successfully navigate culture appropriation in such a hyper-connected world?
Yeah, it's a really tough one. And I think for us, a lot of the, I guess, misappropriation comes before people even commit to us. Like that we've had, and this is, you know, I guess it's easier to manage if it's coming to us as opposed to going directly to people who we're with on the ground. And you know, we've got a duty of care in terms of ensuring people who choose to travel with us are the right type of people with the right type of headspace for what we deliver. But for example, you know, we might have something in the newspaper about one of our destinations that we're operating in, and if someone doesn't agree with our approach or reasoning to go and visit X tribe, we do get phone calls of, are you insane? Why would you do that? You're destroying this, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. We get that quite regularly. We get it on the phone. If I do any sort of speaking and talk about some of the areas that we visit and some of the nomadic tribes that we support, there's always going to be one in the room who is like, why would you take people there? It is just something that we have to manage as best as we can from our side. So even when someone is inquiring about a tour, for example, we take tours to North Korea. That is probably the number one where we get, where once you're there, there's absolutely no room for any kind of cultural misappropriation whatsoever. And it is up to us to ensure that we've got the right type of people on that tour before they commit. So we have places, procedures in place, things like I mentioned before, our pre-tour assessment, which really puts in layman's terms some of the things you need to be aware with before committing to destinations that do have these high sensitivities. We also have to be quite transparent when we're talking to travel agents or our clients about the reality of some of these places. Like for us, yes, you are in business to make money, but at the end of the day, we're in business to change people's lives through travel. And that is more what we're about than, you know, the cash side of it. And so to be completely honest about destinations where, especially ones that I've personally traveled to, if we get someone that wants to book to North Korea, I've spent nearly a month in North Korea, so I'll jump on the phone and talk about the reality of what it's like traveling there to ensure that people are aware that this is what it's going to be like. It's not going to be easy. And if you still like the sound of it, you're more than welcome to come along. Mismanaging expectations is one of the most costly things for any kind of business, and integrity is so important. So any kind of preparation or education that we can manage ahead of time, we do. And, you know, 99% of the time we get it right. Sometimes there is the odd person that slips through the cracks, and again, it comes down to having fantastic crew and knowing how to manage that on the ground if something's done or said disrespectfully. And yeah, I mean, even as far as our documentation that goes out, we've got 2 pages about cultural etiquette and do's and don'ts for all destinations that we go to. So we really try and cover it off as much as we can from our side before someone even arrives there. But then there's also an expectation on our crew to keep their ears pricked for anything that they might sort of hear that could trigger that there's something that may come up as an issue which needs to be managed respectfully.
I think it's great because as you're describing it, you know, it's so important that pre-prep that you do. It's almost a screening. And the education that you must surely undertake with agents, it's even more important with the type of touring you do. I mean, again, I'll relate this. If I put my tour leader hat back on, I'm sure anybody who's been a tour leader will be able to appreciate when they've had a passenger that's been going through, and I don't mean this in a negative or disrespectful way, but they've been going through mental health issues. they've been told to take a holiday, and somebody books them on a Kentucky tour, and it's anything but a holiday. The scheduling and the regime and the routine, and you have people having meltdowns really badly, like hospitalized, which could have been prevented if the education and the pre-screening and the proper, you know what I mean, that diligence had been done. But I can imagine that's on steroids for your world.
Yeah, it is. And it's not just about looking after that individual. It's also the fact that it affects group dynamics as well. You know, you would know, probably your side would be on steroids, having managed coaches of 50 people. But, you know, when it's a small group, it's something that is really easy to shake if you have one person that doesn't kind of get it, or that has a different perspective or a different opinion. And of course, everybody's entitled to their own opinions, but when it's disruptive, and it's something that could have been picked up and perhaps managed a little bit better from our side ahead of actually getting to a destination, you know, it does throw a bit of a spanner in the works, and then that's when it's over to the crew.